What up, Creekside Youth? It's your boy back again. We're talking soul study again. So right now we've been talking about what we were looking at 4 different things that our soul needs, and we're at the first thing still, which is how your soul needs to rest. And we're really bad at resting, so we've been unpacking what it looks like to rest emotionally, what it looks like to rest physically, and now today we're getting to what it looks like to rest spiritually, because you are emotional, physical, and spiritual. And your soul to be healthy. Remember, your soul is like the gusto of who you are. It's the essence. It's the emotion. It's the thoughts. It's all of those things. It's what makes you you. Your soul desperately needs to be able to rest. And we talked last week about how rest only comes. You can only rest in things that are finished, in things that are accomplished, in things that are fully completed. Which is why you can only rest in God and who He is, and you can't rest in you or in your work. You can rest in God's work, but you can't rest in your own, because your work never stops. You know, the moment you turn in an assignment, you have more work to do. You get off of school for summer break, and then you've got chores to do all summer, or maybe some big summer project, or sometimes you have homework over summer, then you get back to school and you got more work, right? Like, work never stops. And so you can't rest in the fact that you're done, that your work is done, but you can rest in the fact that His is. So today we're going to look at what it looks like to rest spiritually. And can I just say, our spiritual walk with Jesus should be filled with a lot more rest than it actually is. I think you and I are far too hard on ourselves. You and I are far too hard on ourselves. It is, our walk with Jesus can feel so complicated and guilt-ridden, and really soul-sucking, because we are so focused on our spirituality being all about doing. It's all about doing, right? Like, we have this concept in our minds that Jesus is like, well, you're great, but what have you done for me lately, right? Like, have you read your Bible enough this week? Have you attended enough youth group? Have you attended enough church? Are you giving? Are you serving with your time? Are you serving with your resources? Are you giving money? How well are you loving your friends, right? Like, we see Jesus as this judgmental figure who is pressing down on us saying, are you doing enough? Are you doing enough? Are you doing enough? And He seems to only come around when we're not doing enough. He feels far from us when we feel like we're doing enough, and He doesn't feel when He's close. It seems like He's close to be judgmental towards us, to say, you're just not doing enough. But can I tell you that with Jesus cares a lot more about you being in Him than He cares about you doing for Him. We are so results oriented. We are so about doing culturally, right? That's why we're terrible at resting, because Jesus is not the kind of person who's saying, what have you done for me lately? It's us. We're the kind of people, right? If your friends don't show up often enough, if they haven't done anything cool for you lately, if they haven't given you enough, then you'll drop them. It's just the truth of it, right? Which is why when we don't see each other for a long time, we have a propensity to just drop each other, right? We don't do long distance relationships because I don't get enough out of that. You're not doing enough for me. Just the same with anything else, right? Like, we'll get annoyed with anything that isn't doing enough for us because everything's about doing. School is about doing, right? Nobody's content that you're just at school. Like, how many times have your teachers told you, it's not enough that you're here, you need to do good work on top of that, right? Like, that happens all the time, because it's not enough to simply just be anywhere, right? Even at home, right? If you're at home and you're sitting on the couch, you know your mom's going to say, like, what have you done? Have you done anything today? Did you take out the trash? Did you do the dishes? Did you clean up the dog poop, right? Like, fill in the blank with whatever it is. Because everything that we're a part of is all about doing, right? Like, we are in this constant rat race of doing. And so why would we assume that Jesus would be any different than what we know? Why would we assume He'd be any different than what we know? Because all we know is doing. But Jesus cares about being. Jesus cares about you and me being in Him and with Him. This is the crazy reality of the gospel, that Jesus's work is complete, right? His work is done. Just like we talked about last week, what he did on the cross was final. It's finished. He can kick back in the lazy boy now. He won. It's all done. He doesn't have to work ever again. It's finished, right? Which is crazy. It's an unknown concept for us. So his work is finished. And because of what he's done, it now frees you and I up in our relationship with him to be in his presence. The God of the universe, the designer of your soul. Though you're so rebellious, though you're so messed up, though you'll never do enough, you'll never be enough, you get to sit in his presence. You get to be with him. And he wants you to be with him, not do for him. There's a big difference there. He cares a lot more about you being with him than doing for him. He says in Matthew 11, he says, my yoke is easy and my burden is light. And he's looking at the comparison between what the world views in do, and how he looks at people and he says, I just want to be with you. I just want to be with you. If you follow him, his yoke is easy and his burden is light. And why? It says in Psalm 103, he knows our frame. He remembers that we're dust. See, we tend to think that Jesus has these ridiculously wild, high expectations of us that we could never hit. And the thing is he actually fulfilled those expectations so that now he can be in relationship with us, right? That's what happens on the cross. He fulfills the expectations and now we get to be in relationship with him. And in Psalm 103, it says he actually knows, he remembers that all you are is made out of dust. And he expects you to be a human being. Jesus' expectations aren't wild. He's understanding, he's caring, he's near. So generally, we feel like Jesus is at this great distance from us because we haven't done enough. And when we are doing enough, we can't even focus on him. We can't even take a minute to look at him because we're trying to read enough, we're trying to do enough, we're trying to attend church enough, we're trying to be loving enough, we're trying to serve enough, we're trying to whatever, right? Fill in the blank. And we miss him. We miss him completely because we're all about doing. Resting with Jesus looks like you pausing, you stopping today. Just stop today for a second. Just sit. Like literally, can you imagine doing this? You should do this today. You should just sit and do nothing. It's not meditation, it's being with him. Go sit out on your porch, sit outside, do nothing. Just sit. Let the sun hit your face and listen for his voice. Listen for his voice. And every time something pops up, because remember, even when we're with him, we're trying to do stuff, right? Generally, when we're with him, we're praying, right? And we're like, please give me this, please give me this, please help me with this. I got to do more things. Just pump the brakes. You can still pray to him. You can still do those things. Pump the brakes and just be with him. Be disarmed from your efforts to do for him. Set down the I need to do, I need to accomplish, I need to be this. You don't need to be anything. He just wants to be with you. And I promise, this is the crazy thing. A lot of us are like, how would I ever hear God? If you just stop doing and focus on being, it's a whole nother world. I'm saying don't read in this time. Don't read scripture. Don't pray. Just be. Just be with him. Try to clear out. Let your thoughts dissipate. Let your worries and your cares dissipate. And just sit with him. Because he will be faithful to show up. Because he loves being with you. And can I tell you, if you take time to be with him every day, not to do for him, to be with him every day, you will start to do more and more for him. It's the natural progression. Being with him leads to doing for him. We tend to think that doing for him leads to being with him. We have it backwards because we're doing without being. You have to be in him to do for him. So slow down today. Rest. He knows your frame. He knows your frame. He remembers that you're dust. And his yoke is easy and his burden is light. And it's so easy. It's so easy for us in this time right now where everything's unknown, where we're doing things that we've never had to do before. We're trying to do school online, fill in the blank, right? It's so easy to be comparing to other people. It's so easy to be looking left and right and saying, am I doing enough? Am I doing enough? Am I doing enough? You are enough. You don't have to do anything. You are enough. I challenge you, take the next 5 minutes and just be still. Put away all concern and worry about what you have to do today, what things more you have to accomplish this week. Be still and be with him. You don't have to do for him. He loves you. He wants to be near to you. Breathe and be still and be with him. His yoke is easy. His burden is light. And he knows your frame. He remembers that you're dust. Take some time. Be with him today. I love you guys so much. Can't wait to see you tonight.